Let's see, what's a theme for this week's video? I guess I should pick three words. Scalding, bear, homicide. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Freaky Friday. Make sure you grab a snack and get super comfortable. We have a really interesting one today. We're going to be talking about one of the most beautifully dangerous parks. Placed sweetly in the Midwestern region of the United States of America, we have the Yellowstone National Park. Supposedly, it's ranked as number 5 as the most dangerous park in the world. I think some of the stories that we discussed today are going to explain why it has that ranking. So the park itself sits gently on top of a super volcano with these massive magma reserves. And some scientists say that if this super volcano were to erupt, it would be the end of the world as we know it. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. This may or may not be true. It may or may not happen in this lifetime. But because of this unique placement, the park is home to half of the world's geysers, and it literally has like over 10,000 different hydrothermals. The crazy part is, some of these hydrothermals are like super cute and cozy, warm, cuddly little bubble bath moments. And then the other bunch can melt your skin off. So it's really hit or miss, you know? And surprisingly enough, actually unsurprisingly enough, the Native Americans don't really have any instances with scoldings in the parks. But somehow, many tourists try to dip their little toes in these boiling waters. So the first scalding in the region's history actually takes place on one of the original expeditions of the park. So around the year of 1870, a group of explorers known as the Washburn-Langford-Doane Expedition. And this group of explorers actually cataloged the entire park and named that famous cone-shaped geyser, the Old Faithful. But one of the explorers, a Truman Everts, got separated from the group, and he ended up wandering in the Montana wilderness for about 37 days, and he had scalds and burns all the way up to his hips. So Everts did survive this ordeal. He actually was found at Heart Lake, where he was trying to stay warm, which is ultimately where he was scalded by the hot waters. So on March 1st, 1872, the Yellowstone National Park officially opened, starting an era of people dying in the park. So some people with no survival instincts have been trying to sneak into the park's thermals, and they call it hot potting. Unfortunately, about a handful of people ended up dying this way just by wandering in places they shouldn't be going, trying to explore, trying to find that perfect little cozy bubble bath that we mentioned, and then wandering into the skin melting versions of those. So a lot of people died that way, but probably one of the most notable and gruesome deaths occurred in one of the hydrothermals. And on July 20th, 1981, David Kerwin, a 24-year-old from California, his friend's dog Moosey both jumped into a 202-degree pool. As the story goes, the dog runs in and falls into the hot hydrothermal waters, and he immediately can't swim and starts freaking out and yelping, of course, as he's dying. I'm not sure if it's his friend or another bystander, but basically says, like, "You're not about to go in there, are you?" And without hesitation, the dog owner's friend dives into the pool after the dog. So he actually was able to reach Moosey, but as he's trying to bring Moosey back, they're like bobbing in and out of the water, and he's getting fully submerged in these hot thermals. And the water is not just hot, it's super acidic. It's like, try not to think boiling water, and more of like boiling acid. David's friend and the owner of Moosey actually helped David out of the pool, and in the process, his friend actually sustained burns from just taking them out of the pool. That's how hot and acidic it was. Not to mention, witness accounts say that their skin was practically falling off their bodies. And as sad and horrific as this is, David and Moosey both end up tragically passing away from their injuries. Water is not the only danger in Yellowstone, the national park. There are several dangerous animals that call Yellowstone their home. We have grizzly bears, we have black bears, we have elk, we have moose, we have a small population of wolves. There's been some pretty ugly interactions with bison. The list really goes on. But this emphasis is going to be on the bears. So since the park was established in 1872, there's been 8 people killed by bears and about 44 people injured by bears. So out of all of the 8 bear fatalities, only one of the bear species couldn't be determined. But for the most part, they were all grizzly bears. And in case you don't know, grizzly bears are some of the most powerful animals in the animal kingdom. Huge claws, huge teeth, huge muscles, huge mouth, huge legs. They're huge. Yes, they are. They're standing on big business, okay? So much so that experts actually advise for you, there's literally nothing you can do. They say play dead. Play dead. You can't outrun the bear. You can't outclimb the bear. I don't think you can. No, you definitely can't outswim the bear. There's no, you have to play dead and hope you don't be dead, you know? But of course, that advice is when you're face to face with a grizzly bear. There are several precautions that you could take to avoid this scenario happening, which is food safety. That's a really big concern when it comes to bears, is using a bear box, properly storing food. That's one of the biggest things to help deter, or to not attract, I should say, a bear. It's always good to travel in groups of people that are talking and constantly letting the environment, letting the organisms and the critters and the bears around you know that you're present in their environment, and to stay away, because I think the bear also doesn't want any encounters with humans. Humans are pretty freaking awful. I would say so myself from my own personal experiences. You know, so if I was a bear, I would personally also may or may not attack somebody. I don't know. I don't know where this is going. People have been pulled from their tents. People have been chased down. People have just accidentally stumbled across a mama bear and her cubs. A lot of these victims suffered massive lacerations, gashes, head trauma. A bear mauling is super traumatic and not cute in any way whatsoever. Their sharp claws can shred through us like nobody's business. And you have to think, these are not clean bites. These are very messy, ferocious, flesh tearing type of bites. For the individuals that actually encountered a bear and survived to tell the tale, their accounts are very, very graphic. It takes a serious, superhuman type of person to survive a bear mauling. Just again, to add some context and to help you guys kind of understand where the bears are coming from, just to be just to be a devil's advocate for the bear in the situation. A lot of these people were hiking by themselves, which isn't the smartest thing to do. I know we love to try to preach to be independent, and that if you want to go do something, go out and do it. You can do it by yourself. But in certain situations, you're really putting yourself at risk. A lot of these people were just day hikers, solo hikers. And again, a big thing was food storage and food safety. That was a big thing that also encouraged bears to come into the vicinity of humans. And of course, out of human curiosity, we have a photographer who got way too close than they should have been to the bear and ultimately met their untimely demise. And like I said, and then we just have the unlucky encounter with Mama Bear. You do not fuck with Mama Bear. Sorry for my language, but Mama will fuck you up. Of course, let's leave it to humans to get the same amount of murders as the bears did. There's been about 8 associated homicide, death, foul play, malicious, whatever, in the park. Of course, there's been various amounts outside of the park, but really I'm just talking about the number that's directly happened inside the park. And I'm going to tell you guys a really crazy, sad, horrifying story, as I do. So this murder happened in the year of 1889, involving George and Margaret Trishman, and then their 4 children as well. So Margaret, who has been known to suffer from mental health issues, literally slashed her own throat. Okay. And she tried to tell authorities and the police officers, whoever, that it was a man, a big scary man did it to her, because she survived, by the way. But yeah, they ended up sending her to a mental hospital because they were like, that's not adding up. That math does not math. She ended up getting a not so cozy room in the mental hospital in Warm Springs, Montana. But she was later released back to her family in Mammoth, Montana. She was a mammoth. That's a Nicki reference if you don't know Nicki Minaj. Dislike this video. I know you're probably wondering, when do we get to the Yellowstone part? Yeah, so we're getting there. So basically, she gets home, she's in Mammoth, and in case you don't know, Mammoth is in Yellowstone. It's right there. They're touching, okay? But anyways, she ends up slashing her son's throat so viciously and so bad that he's almost decapitated. I know that's really gruesome, but that's what happened. And then she proceeds to chase down her other children, trying to do the same. She obviously is diagnosed as clinically insane, and she's actually on a train where she jumps out of the train into the Yellowstone River where her body was never to be found. As we know, Yellowstone is a very naturey place. There's a lot of places to hide bodies and where you could, I don't know, I guess stumble upon a cadaver, whatever. So as it would make sense, that's kind of how a lot of these murders were discovered, is people discovering human remains in certain woodsy locations, whatever, launches investigation, missing persons, the whole shebang bang. As you can see, that is why Yellowstone National Park is ranked as the 5th most dangerous park in the world. It's a really beautiful park. If you haven't been, I really highly recommend going. It's amazing. I've been, loved it. Actually, I guess this is a good time myself to talk about my own personal experience in Yellowstone. I didn't die, clearly, but I did have a bear encounter, actually. Very interesting. It was a black bear, so I think that's why I lived to tell the tale. Really nothing crazy. I actually had 2 bear encounters. So I was on a little research team. I was just on a little research team. We were looking for pollinators, bees and butterflies, whatnot, whatever. And we were hiking, obviously, to get to certain locations. And so if you could picture like a slope, right? And it's like a little mountain, okay? And our trail's kind of going around it. And it's like woods and woods. And then we're just walking in a line. And of course, I'm talking, I'm singing, because that's like what I do to like let the bears and let the critters know that, hey, it's me. I don't think you'll like me. So bye. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I'm doing that, and out of nowhere, a bear literally crosses right in front of me, comes out of the trail, out of the bush, right onto the trail. We make eye contact, and then it keeps going back. And I immediately turn around, and I'm just like, bear, bear, bear. And we all turn around, bear, 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 bear. And we just wait it out, and then we just keep going. Really was not that crazy. And then another time, I actually saw a mama black bear with her cubs. Kind of scary, but they were literally just like, they were yonder. Same situation, they're like, but this time they're like more up and a couple yards away, and they're just like eating huckleberries, and we just kind of let them pass, mind our business, they mind their business, and that was it, the end. So anyways, guys, check out Yellowstone. I'm gonna go ahead and make like a little list of like maybe like a podcast, or I know there's like a really good book that talks about a lot of the deaths and horrific things that happen in Yellowstone, because Yellowstone, it's just like so much. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put that in the description in case anybody's interested. There's podcasts, books, whatever. I just said that, I know, but again, I just want to make sure that there's other places to go look into things, because I don't know, if you're interested, you're interested. So anyways, all right, guys, we have arrived at our destination, and that's going to be it for today. This was the little Yellowstone horror story segment. I hope that you guys liked episode 3 of Freaky Friday. Of course, I'm going to have another episode next week, so please come back. Please come back next Friday. If you liked the video, please make sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. If you hated the video, make sure to dislike it, and I'll try not to think about it at night in my dreams when I'm really sad. No, just kidding. Do whatever. Do what you do. Do what you do. I'll get it. I'll understand.